دکتۆر مودار زەهران شرۆڤەکاری سیاسی کە ڕاستەوخۆ لە لەندەنەوە لەگەڵمایە گفتوگوی زیاتر بکەم. دکتۆر سڵاو لەبێم کاتت باش، سوپاس کە لەگەڵ مابووی. ئێستا گرژی و ئاڵۆزەکانی نێوان ئێران و ئەمریکا هەستی پێ.
First of all, the U.S. President Trump still has his finger on the trigger. He's still sticking to his guns while he's negotiating. So as the negotiators go on, there are certain things which the U.S. is particularly demanding from Iran in order to defuse the situation. These are the demands, including some of what you've heard in the media, and some you probably haven't. These are: one, the nuclear program will have to turn into a civilian program with tight control of the uranium stock. The Americans are starting with, let's not have any form of nuclear programs, civilian or military. The Iranians are now negotiating, how about you just let us keep our civilian program? And that's the point of discussion. But even if Iran is to keep a civilian program, it will be closely monitored by the international organizations, which will include American inspectors themselves. The nuclear program is not the biggest problem that Iran and the U.S. have issues about. The biggest point of difference is actually less expected issue, which is the ballistic missiles. For those who might not know, the ballistic missiles which Iran used during its 12-day confrontation with Israel last year are missiles with the capabilities of flying into the outer space and then landing exactly on target. So flying into outer space above the atmosphere makes them very hard to detect. Only the American forces have the THAAD program, the THAAD system, or those batteries are able to intercept and shoot down those missiles, but not at exactly 100%. So these are a big problem, and Iran has them. It's been delivered to them. They've been bought and delivered from China, and these are like quite a huge threat. So this program, above anything, has to be dismantled. Those missiles the United States wants to see gone, dismantled, or delivered to a safe third party, possibly the Russians or anyone else. But they have to go. And the Iranians would not let them go. And the problem with that is they're very hard to detect. In other words, they can always keep a few missiles on the side, which even 100 missiles is dangerous. The estimated stock of ballistic missiles that Iran has now is in the range of thousands, possibly 3,000, which is a huge stock. Also, another demand is introducing democracy, not democracy, upscaling human rights in Iran. And that's a big issue because the U.S. is not taking any nonsense, not any facelift for the regime. They need to stop the killing.
دەزانین کە ئەو مەرجەی کە
the U.S. is very clear. They're going to war. They have this buildup of U.S. troops and military assets is unprecedented in the region, even bigger than what we had in 2003. But there's another point that's in connection to Kurdistan and Iraq, which is also in the negotiations, if I may add that. There's a fundamental demand or stipulation put up by the Americans, which is that Iran would stop interfering in both Kurdistan and Iraq, or Iraq in general. There's a huge Iranian influence in Iraq, which has been manifested since 2003. And this was the epitome of that was the recent nomination of former Prime Minister Malki. This man, at least in America's eyes, and at least my experience from the United States Department of State days, this man is Iran's man. Iran's flunky, and Iran has to forget about sucking up Iraq's wealth and influencing Iraqi politics.
گرفتی سەرەکی ئێستای عراقیەکان لەوەدایە
This is going to be very bad for Iraq. And I want people to read my lips. Those watching in the Iraqi government and Iranian government, read my lips. For Iran, the Americans are quite prepared to fight, and they will. They're not bluffing when they say they will if they can't reach their goals through negotiations. On the other hand, in Iraq, there's another form of punishment that will start taking place. And read my lips, and it's not exactly what you expected. I'm talking to the Iraqi government, Iranian guys, pro-Iran guys. You will start getting financial sanctions, not only to the Iraqi banking system, to those people. They're going to start, the U.S. will start eventually designating them as terrorists or enablers of terrorist organizations like the Iranian Revolutionary Guards and the Al-Hashd al-Shabi, the Shiite pro-Iran militias in Iraq. Those people connected with them, including al-Malki, will find themselves blocked from their wealth, from their bank accounts, and Iraqi banks who deal with them will find themselves facing a lot of sanctions, which is the greatest threat of all, SWIFT system. Simply, the U.S. could switch the SWIFT system off for Iraq. Any alternative system is not going to work. And I'm not talking about speculations. I'm talking about serious measures already on the table, which will take place against Iraqi officials if the pro-Iranian officials remain in power. And let me be clear with you. To be honest, my feel is that a lot of people in Baghdad, they think that this is all bluff. This is not a bluff, and you're going to see some serious measures in the very foreseen months.
باش زۆر سپاس بۆ بەڕێز دکتۆر مودار زەهران شۆڤەکاری سیاسی ڕاستەخۆ لە لەندەوە لەگەڵ مابووی سپاس بۆ تۆ.